the Nerdy Neighborhood, everybody, and welcome back to your Friendly Neighborhood Comic Show. I'm your host, Lauren, your Friendly Neighborhood Bi, and joining me today is actually our first animation guest. We're switching up a bit today. I know we're a comic show, but of course we're going to verge into other nerdy areas at some point. So please welcome, if I can make sure I say it right, because I said it right earlier. I'll probably butcher it, but this is Tina Nawrocki. She is known for doing Cuphead DLC, but she's done a bunch of other indie stuff. How are you, Tina?
I am doing great. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to ask and mean it rather than just say, how are you? Okay, back to business, everybody.
Although my sister just sent me that I think it's in Finland where an appropriate answer to how are you is vertical and not crying. And I think we should normalize that as a good response. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where that is very possible to get normalized especially by younger generations, because it's funny, the stuff I'll see on like TikTok or what have you. And even to me, like I'm getting into the older, I guess, stage now, but even to me, I'll catch on to some of the trends and I'll talk about them to someone else. So like, what's that? But then I talk to someone else and they completely get it. It's like another language, I swear, sometimes.
Yes, well, I'm probably a little bit older than you, so the TikTok generation is just absolutely above my head.
It's okay. I'm catching up. I don't think I'm far behind, unfortunately. So, that's either fortunately or unfortunately. It goes both ways, I think, so.
I'm really happy with my age. I don't pretend to be younger than I am. I just I am perfectly satisfied with where I'm at. I think it's a lovely time. And we talk a lot with, young animators at festivals and things like this. I've been doing the rounds of the festivals after pandemic has kind of, calmed down. And it's just a lot of the things you're like, wow, it's so nice to be like after, 15 years plus doing what you do, there are certain perks of having done it this long. And I'm just really happy to be at this stage of my career. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, 16 years. And, we're going to talk about your Indiegogo project, your short film that's funding right now. But I just wanted to ask, before we get right into that, you mentioned that you've been doing this 15 plus years and you specifically are 2D animation.
Yes.
Rather than where everybody's gone with 3D.
I'm one of those really weird people that my generation, so I'm how old I am. Hold on. I think I'm 37, but I forget, whenever the next birthday rolls around, I'm not quite sure, but around that age. And so it was really hard for me, being so passionate about 2D animation. When I entered the industry, it was just switching completely to 3D. So Disney just closed down their 2D animation studio after Princess and the Frog. And there was very little hope for 2D animators out there. And, the advice was very clear. Everybody was like, no, you should do 3D. You should stop trying this. 2D is dead. If you want to ever be hired and work and, make money, you have to learn 3D. And I did give it a shot. I tried it and I was like, I hate this. I hate everything about this. This is not who I am. And it's not that I hate 3D as a medium. I think it's lovely. It's just not who I am, and it's not what I love to do. And so my kind of thinking was, I'm going to learn 2D because to me it's the hardest form of animation, or one of the hardest, because not only do you have to have a good sense of timing and acting and, have all those bases about movement and, body mechanics, but on top of that, you have to draw well. You have to draw well enough to stay on model, that your character doesn't get larger or smaller. You have to be able to rotate things in space in your drawings. And of course, draw every single emotion instead of just manipulating like a puppet or, something like you do in stop motion or 3D. So it's like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll be just a very good animator because if I learn the hardest one first, then, it'll be easier to try different tools. But thankfully, I got, at the beginning of my career, I got a lot of work in casual gaming, this was before smartphones, everyone. This was when there was these portals online for children and things like this, where you could play little mini games online. So I did a lot of that. And then Facebook games became a thing, and I worked on some Facebook games. And then at some point, I started getting promoted too much. People kept giving me raises, and I was really pissed off because you get promoted and then you draw less and less and less because you're like, okay, now you have to go to meetings and now you're training juniors. I was so pissed at my junior sports sweethearts. They had numbers instead of names because I'm also terrible with names.
Oh.
So I called them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that was it. Yeah, and so at some point I quit my really well-paid job because I was just so pissed at this. I'm an artist. I want to, I actually hate people. I want to draw. And so I went back to school as a mature student. So 10 years after having worked in the industry, I went back to school and I just did everything on paper. And the year I went to Sheridan College, they got rid of all the animation desks and replaced it with Statiques. And they left 3 at the back, just as a little token. And I was the only person back there, still flipping paper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I did that, and then somebody told me I should put my stuff online, which I didn't know was a thing. So I made a little blog and posted all my animations, and that's how MDHR found me, because we're like, wow, you do paper animation, nobody does that anymore. Would you like to be part of this project? And so that's how I got that job. So, all things come to those who wait.
It's true. And with this Indiegogo, we're going to talk about SYRENKA. Did I say that right? I know I didn't roll the R. I know
SYRENKA, yes, you're doing great.
Yeah. Legend of the Warsaw Mermaid. So you've been thinking about this. You've been working on it, waiting for the right moment for 10 freaking years. That's a part of a lifetime.
I think a lot of us animators and artists have a pet project that we've thought about, and we just put it on the shelf and keep coming back to it, but are not ready to commit yet, And one of the hangups I had about committing to SYRENKA was I didn't think I was a good enough animator yet, and we all have that. We're like, oh, sure, I'll make this project when I'm good enough, when I feel I can do it justice. And at some point, I felt if I make that the bar, I will never make this film. So, you just have to dive into it. You have to go for it and pull the trigger. So this is the year. It's happening.
It is. And we were talking about this before we started recording. You mentioned it's kind of great that, you got the Little Mermaid live action coming out, which is getting good reviews. So that hopefully is going to inspire people to be like, hey, mermaids are in.
Yes, there's so many mermaid things going on. It is Mermay after all, which is also why we decided to do our crowdfunding campaign. I'm working with an amazing producer. Her name is Felicity Moreland, and she has just finishing up an awesome 2D a documentary film, feature film about 2D animation and what's going on with it in our current world. So it's a great subject. It's an awesome film, and she's just finishing that up. And I told her, we've been friends for a long time. I was actually her first interview on that.
There you go.
Yes, years ago when Cuphead just came out. So she interviewed me, and we became friends over the years.
Aww.
And I told her this is the year I'm making SYRENKA, and she's like, do you have a producer? And I said, no. And she's like, would you like me to be your producer on this? And so so I have a really amazing kind of support network that way, that Felicity's supporting me, and I have an amazing team, and it's happening. It's really, really happening.
Yeah, and one thing, obviously we're gonna talk about what the story is actually about, of course, but you already mentioned the team, and this team you have seems to be entirely composed of women or gender non-conforming people. People always act like that's a hard thing to do. So I have to ask, was it hard to put together specifically that?
I have so many thoughts on this subject. So as you know, I am she, her. I identify as a woman, and I've been working in video games most of my career. So I'm sure the comic book industry is an interesting area for that kind of stuff as well. I'd love to talk to some authors, but specifically in video games, for most of my career, it was you walk into a studio, there's 49 guys, you're the only woman, and there might be a woman at reception, or HR might have a woman, but that's about it. You're the only one. And for years and years and years, that was the norm. So most of my career, I've been working with men. And of course, certain types of stories get told. And, even if I have my own voice, oh yeah, here's my team. That's really exciting. You can see them. So, certain stories get told, even if I would have a slightly divergent opinion, usually, the majority wins in most situations. So it really skews to a certain type of worldview, I would say, in telling of stories. Because as animators, as in video games, comic book creators, we all tell stories. Like that's the point of it. And so SYRENKA is a Polish legend based on the beautiful emblem of the city of Warsaw. And it's a warrior mermaid. She has a sword and a shield, and she's very badass. The original legend, however, is very simple and straightforward, and I find it has a little bit too much of that damsel in distress gets saved kind of narrative. And I'm like, that story has been told a million times. I want to tell my version of this story, because to me, it doesn't seem to go with the character. She's a warrior mermaid. She don't need to be saved.
Right, yeah.
She can, she should fight for herself. And so the overarching, story has a feminist message. It's about female empowerment. It's also about standing up to misogyny and being made aware of it. And as we get older, and this is something that I find, I talk to a lot of my friends who are in their 30s, when you're young and you're first confronted by misogyny or by sexism, you're objectified, you get catcalled on the streets, things happen. And at first you're so disgusted by it, you're so angry. And then over the years, it keeps happening and happening so constantly that you just normalize it. You're just like, oh, well, this is part of my existence now. And I just turn a blind eye to it, and it's fine. It is not fine. And so part of the message of my film is to kind of wake up, and some things are not fine. And we should be angry, and we should fight. And so in order to tell this story, I wanted to have a different perspective. It's a story, about female empowerment. I wanted women or gender nonconforming individuals to have their voices heard. And so far, it's been such a really amazing experience. I can tell you, for somebody who's worked with a very certain demographic all their life, to be in a space where I say something and everybody understands what I'm talking about, it's incredible. And so a really amazing childhood friend of mine, Zarin Darnell Martin, who is an actress, she also writes scripts. She wrote the script for me because I am not a writer.
Right.
The other thing is, I think if I had made the movie 10 years ago, I would have tried to do it all by myself. And as you get older, you're like, no, I want support. I want to be part of a team. I want to have different points of view and different experiences. So I try to not only hire a certain demographic, but also a fairly diverse team, people who have, live in different places around the world, people who've had different life experiences to add to the story. And let me tell you, you asked a particular question, which I will answer. You know how many times I've been to a studio full of men and I ask the question, I'm like, okay, so why am I the only woman you've ever hired? Like, where's the rest of us? And they're like, oh, well, it's so hard to find talented women who are willing to work for this studio, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? Is it? Okay. And I would just, accept that narrative. And I went out, to find this team for SYRENKA, and I wanted to work with people that I admired. I wanted to find the right person for the job. And it was so easy. It was the easiest thing I have ever done. No effort, almost. Like a smidge of effort to find somebody who is a woman and who is amazing at what she does and is 100% the right person, like the best person for the job, because that's also I hear a lot, which is like, oh, we just hired the best person for the job. And that all is, straight white men for some reason.
Crazy.
Crazy. I don't know how that happened. So yes, it was easy. It was so easy. You just put a tiny bit of effort and you will find us very gorgeous, amazing, talented, incredible women and gender non-conforming individuals out there who are incredible at what they do and they are easy to find.
Yeah. Yes. 1,000%. See, that's what I think, but I don't like putting words in people's mouths, so I have to ask. But I really love, one thing I really admire about this project and you and your team is how open and loud that this is about, women's rights and just human rights and activism in general. It's not often that you see, especially a funding campaign and a fantasy mermaid one at that, be so unabashedly like, hell yeah, we're doing this because we want things to be better. We want people to feel supported, and we want to inspire others to support, other people. I mean, how did you come to the conclusion of this needs to be loud as hell? And then how did you deliver that message to your team and get them on board?
Oh, I think that was the easiest sell to all these lovely, amazing, team members of mine. Is as soon as I told them that, yes, this is it's going to be a beautiful fantasy, film. However, the message is about, female empowerment. It is about human rights. And I think the message is just as important as like making the beautiful animation, which I'm super excited about. Yeah. And they were all so like, yes, of course, we have to do this. This is amazing. And I would also, it's interesting because I would, like pitch it to every one of these wonderful people. And I would get emotional almost every time I would talk about like the ending part of, the film, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to spoil it. And every time, like I said it so many times over, I need to think that I get used to it, but it still means so much to me that I would get like all emo and choked up about it. And it was really wonderful to see their reaction, that they're like, yes, this is important. This is something that they want to be a part of. And we were talking a little bit backstage about this, but there are certain like trends in the world, like polarizing trends, where I feel we are taking steps backwards. That we had like this amazing time of progress when it comes to human rights, women's rights, LGBTQIA rights, and then suddenly there's this huge regression, and there's these like splitting of society into two camps, and I feel scared, and we all do, and concerned, and super saddened by this. And I think I talk to my sister a lot about this. My older sister is not an animator. She is a professor, and she studies history and human rights. And whenever I'm concerned or I don't understand something, I like to talk to her. And I was really depressed about like, what can you do? Like, we are not politicians. We're not like, we have a vote, and it's important to go out and vote. But that's about, like you feel kind of helpless at some point.
Yeah.
And my sister's like, don't let that feeling take over. Like, focus on the sphere that you can, change, like your tiny little sphere. So and I tell this to young animators all the time, especially when there are certain toxic things in our industry, you are the change. Like the new people coming in, if we all stand up and say, this is unacceptable, this is not okay. Like the video game industry has a huge Me Too movement, sadly, with abuse. If we all say no, like we will change it, but you have to start with a tiny little sphere that you can, have an impact on. And so I try and be a positive impact at the studios I work at. And this film is my positive impact as well. It's, it's art, it's activism. I'm trying to make a beautiful, gorgeous animation that people will want to watch, but that the message is important as well.
Yeah. And it's something that art has been used for a very long time, to be able to entertain or escape in, while also sliding in a message, whether it's very subtly or it's very like, haha, you're entertained. By the way, smack, here's some, here's a message or whatever. And I think it really works, especially for, these younger generations, because I think too, that's the thing to think about with activism and inspiring change. Obviously, we want everybody of all different ages and generations and creeds and all this but the young generation is always, the one that you can kind of inspire the most, I think, at times. And that's why people fight for their votes, and they're, and so I think it's so cool that, you're taking this route of getting your message out, and you're keeping it to your natural form too. Like, you could have very easily said, I feel like within 10 years, screw it, if I can make it 3D but make my film, I'll do it, but you kept true to your craft and what you really believe, and you said, no, I'm not going to compromise the message. I'm not going to compromise the integrity of the animation and the art style. If it's getting done, it's getting done right.
Yeah, and I think it's, this is a passion project on so many levels, right? It's a passion project because I'm working with a team I've always wanted to work with. And it's a new experience for me, and it's super exciting. I'm passionate about the story. It is based on my own heritage. I am Polish. I'm an immigrant, so it's an immigrant story. I'm also, the art style is inspired by a very specific Polish art movement, which is called Moda Polska. It happened at the same time as Art Nouveau. So everybody knows Gustav Klimt, The Kiss, Alfons Mucha with his beautiful posters, and so he's Czech and Austrian. And here you go, yes. And so this is Moda Polska. It's a beautiful, beautiful art movement, and so I've always loved it, and I'm very much aware of it because I'm Polish. But it's not very well known, and so I wanted to kind of showcase my heritage through this film as well by making the art inspired by these gorgeous pieces that people don't know about. So it's also, showcasing my roots. So it's a passion project on that level. And then, as you said, I am such a nerdy advocate for 2D animation and and moreover paper 2D animation. So, I hope you all know that Cuphead was all, hand drawn on paper. But I've been working on some amazing other 2D animated projects, which are still hand-drawn frame by frame, but they're on the computer, using a Cintiq. And it's wonderful as well. Don't get me wrong. It goes a little bit faster, so you're saving some time. But there's something about touching the paper and the way that your pencil makes mistakes, and you have to be more aware so that you don't have undo, you have to physically erase, and I don't like erasing. So you have to focus more. And I feel I am a different animator when I animate on paper. Also, my eyes were less tired because you're not looking at the screen all the time. You're looking at a physical object. And I don't want to get into like the deep black hole that is the discussion of AI art. But I think there is going to be a trend towards a greater appreciation of like completely handcrafted things, because it's going to be so obvious that it was made by the human hand. And, I've always loved paper animation, but I think this is a very apt time to show the human hand making art very deliberately. And so that's another reason why I decided to do it the old-fashioned way on paper.
Yeah, I completely, I imagine in like the animation world, if people get super nerd about animation, that like getting original hand-drawn pages of an animation you love, that's gotta be the most rare thing on the planet.
I have a bunch of I have a little collection started over there. Of hand-drawn, animation art. I just got the Robin Hood one, and I lost my mind when I bought that
amazing.
One. Yes, and I have two from the 1930s because
Whoa.
Yeah, so and they're so yellow and so old, and I absolutely love them. And you can still one of the things that you can tell, and this is hot tip for anybody buying animation art. Because there's been people copying cells and trying to sell it as original animation art. The way is if there's paper scarring. And what that is when you flip the paper, you have this scarring that happens where you're flipping. And if you see the paper scars, it's an original animation drawing.
Wow. Well, see, now we're all learning. Now I know how to hunt, or I kind of know how to hunt for real animation art. About to raid my flea market this weekend.
There you go. And yes, so I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. I'll take it out of my drawer.
Oh, wow. We get out of the drawer.
Out of a drawer, y'all. So this is the test shot for SYRENKA. So this is all the hand-drawn, beautiful drawings of SYRENKA.
That's so awesome.
And it's quite a large animation paper because I wanted her to swim across the screen. Yeah. And so you can actually buy one of these on my campaign, which is really exciting, which is the Water Witch. A little bit more expensive, but you get everything. You get all the digital rewards. You get an original animation drawing signed by me. You get the beautiful poster, which hopefully I will share soon. So, and you'll get some prints, you'll get a bunch of stuff. So do check it out. And also, if you cannot afford the Water Witch, I'm doing a Draw It in Your Style challenge for the month of May. So if you draw my mermaid, SYRENKA, if you share the campaign and tag me, or tag SYRENKA Film, which is our social media, and then you are entered into the contest and you can win an original animation drawing and put it up on your wall like I do with mine.
I love that. And I love how it, really calls to, the other animators or artists of some form to pitch in and get involved. It's not just like, okay, anybody that decides they want to click it and then get it and scalp it or something. Like, it's really, you're really targeting them, and hopefully giving people something fun to draw. Like, who doesn't want to draw a warrior mermaid? If I could draw, I would draw it.
I'm so glad you would.
I am not that talented though, but we have artists in the neighborhood that would probably love to draw this.
I've been sharing all the amazing entries that we've had so far, and it's really nice to see just like the variety of artists who decided to participate. And we have a little bit over a week till Mermaid ends, and then I'll announce the winners. But the campaign has a little bit under a month now. I think we have 25 days left or something like this. We're getting so close to 50%, and obviously I'm stressed out like crazy. We talked a little bit about financing, this film beforehand, but animation's not cheap. And if I get the Indiegogo funding, which is an all or nothing campaign, so if I don't make it to my goal, I get nothing. So please donate. Whoever's watching this, if you have $10, even, just like give it to our campaign. So basically, the budget, I'm trying to get 50,000 Canadian dollars, which is going to pay for all of my team members. It's going to pay for the voice actors, for the backgrounds, for storyboard, for layout, and for music, which is really, really important. I'm working with an awesome composer who's going to do the music. So if I get the money, everybody will get paid but myself. I will work for free. No. Everybody else will get paid. And then I'm also applying to grants, to try and, help fund the film. And if I get maybe some of those grants, then maybe I'll get paid, but we'll see. And this is why I've decided to do a timeline of 2 years, just keeping it realistic. 7 minutes of animation is a lot, to be honest with you. I think if you're working full time on feature length, 5 seconds a week is normal quota.
Wow.
Yes.
That's insane. I mean, it makes so much more sense to hear that in terms of like, if you're a fan, you're like, why is this movie taking so long to get made? And it's like, especially animation.
Yes. And so, and I won't be working full time because of course I need to pay my bills. So I'll be still working at my regular jobs. But so who knows, if I do get more than I was hoping for, then I could spend more time on SYRENKA and it'll come out sooner rather than later. But it will come out. This is, as I said, I've been thinking about it for 10 years. There's nothing stopping me. I am making this film. It's happening.
Yeah. And I love the character concepts you have here. Like, you've got the mermaid and you've got the bar matron. And,
yes,
I mean,
so it's an interesting story because it's not just about the mermaid herself. There's like these two characters, these two main female characters who are central to the story. And in some ways, Kinga is more the hero than the mermaid is. The mermaid is almost like a symbol of like the emotions that we keep suppressing. And also a symbol of, get up and fight. Whereas Kinga is living in the real world. She's like, she is human. She's not magic. She has to deal with reality. And it's about this duality of these two women, like one who is confronted daily by like the real world and trying to maneuver that world. And then the mermaid who represents like, no, this is not good enough. We have to stand up for ourselves and make the world better. So yes.
Yeah. I love
the concepts, by the way, are by an extremely talented young concept artist. Her name is Yasmin Fairouche, and she is Moroccan. She's currently living in Morocco. And she was super excited about the project as well and is very passionate about it. She's currently working, I think, as a junior concept artist, but also has agreed very kindly to work on my film in her free time. So she's going to be doing all the concept art for the characters. I have some amazing concept artists who are doing like, I guess like inspiration pieces. There's Anna Podedvorna, which is that main beautiful image of a mermaid doing her hair. She did that for me. And I'm also working with an amazing concept artist called Rita Kaczmarska, who is going to be doing another. Yes, so this is Anna Podedvorna's concept, which is absolutely gorgeous. Really giving the mood and the lighting and all.
Yeah.
And then I have another concept, which hopefully I will share with you soon. It's the angry mermaid, where she's pissed, and that's a beautiful moment in the film where a mermaid is angry. So I'll be sharing that concept soon, I hope.
Listen, there's nothing scarier yet more badass than the woman that's angry.
Yes, and like use that anger, it's power.
Right.
So yes, absolutely.
There's a quote that you said in the video here that's on the campaign that really stood out to me. Talking about, I want SYRENKA, the image of a warrior mermaid holding a sword and shield, to be a new emblem for the fight for women's rights and equality. And I think that statement just perfectly sums up what this is all about, what this whole film's purpose is. And I think that quote should be on a t-shirt.
Thank you. I'll make that t-shirt just for you.
I have it open. I have my P.O. box. Okay.
Amazing. There's like also another hole in the market, it seems. It's funny. I went to Warsaw recently because most of my family lives in Warsaw.
Okay.
I went to record the beautiful singing voice of my mermaid, the singer Sylvia Zelek. But I went, I went to see the beautiful statue of a mermaid in the old Times Square, which I love. But I was wanting to buy like a pendant of the warrior mermaid. And I'm like, well, it's the emblem of the city. There must be like a million souvenir shops that have like a pendant. And it does not exist.
What?
And I'm like, no, it does not exist. And I was like, I had to Google it. And there's like some people who made it, but like, it's just not in any store. And like, this is a hole in the market. I should design the pendant.
Oh my God.
And make it a thing. I'm going to talk to some jewelers. We're going to get this going.
I was going to say, you got to make the warrior mermaid like go viral or something.
Yeah, well, who knows? Honestly, I don't know what this film will do for me when it comes to as like a career step, or it won't make any money. So feature films make money, short films do not. So let's be honest. This is really a passion project for the art and not for profit. It's going to go to festivals. I'm really hoping it'll go to like as many festivals as I can possibly fit it into. And then it's going to live happily ever after on the internet somewhere where everybody can enjoy it. And I hope it'll just, with the power of the internet, more people can watch it and take that message on, and hopefully it'll be in this small way, like a change for good. Even if it changes like one person and it gets them thinking, that's job done.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier with speaking with your sister, I believe your professor, it's again the little things, and even if, a billion people don't watch this YouTube channel, but I can get, even 10 other people to go back this, one, that's 10 other people exposed, and two, you never know how big they're gonna back, because they're like, holy crap, it's hand drawn, it's badass mermaids, has a good message. Take all my money.
Everybody, give me your Starbucks money.
There you go. See, that's another t-shirt. There you go. You got a mermaid shop coming.
Yeah, exactly. And I keep telling them, like every time you go to Starbucks, you drop at least $15 US. So go give it to this campaign. Like instead, give one mermaid for another mermaid one time, and then all these people.
I love that. Give one mermaid for another mermaid. You got so many sound bites here. It's happening.
This is all, it's all coming off like this.
Well, is there anything else other than everybody go back this immediately that you want to share about this amazing, amazing short film project?
Nothing, but I'm so excited to share the process with everyone. So obviously I won't give away anything that's super spoiler, so I won't give away the end, but I'm very excited to share like how I make this film as I go along. I have Twitter, I have Instagram, it's all SYRENKA Film, so just the first word and then film. We have a website, and I want to inspire other young animators, to pursue a dream project at one point in their life, and to just to donate, in order to support each other, right? So I've donated to countless indie films whenever I see the campaign go by on Twitter, because I think artists should support other artists, especially in scary times like the times that we are living in. With AI art, it is time to rise up as a community of artists, and the fact that crowdfunding campaigns even exist is something incredible. So that back in the day, when people really wanted to do a small project, they didn't have this outreach, this global outreach, where they can ask for help internationally. And I think we need to use these platforms and make good art. Everyone, let's make art.
Right? Absolutely. Before we get out of here, I wanted to show, because you mentioned a website, which everything she said will be linked below, guys. So you can just click a couple times, back a great project, get some really great goodies coming your way. But if you want to see just some, if you really need the extra oomph to back, go to the site. Here, you can watch some of the animation. It is some of the coolest shit you will ever see. Like, imagine your comic books coming to life. That's what hand-drawn animation is.
You can't
beat that.
It's amazing. Press play. Press play.
I can do that.
So we can watch
sound? I haven't even watched this one myself yet.
Oh,
look how cool that is.
Yes. And she has 2 legs, y'all, which is something that is really interesting. Most old European mermaid paintings had the mermaid with 2 legs. So if you look at old Italian paintings, if you look at, some like the statue of the warrior mermaid in Poland, she has the 2 legs. So I thought it was very important to keep that kind of stylistic choice there, and not have that like one fin that has become so popular after the Disney Little Mermaid. So yeah, there you go.
That is really cool. Well, now we have the real mermaids, everyone. You can thank Tina for bringing real mermaids back.
Bring it back. Bring back the 2-legged mermaid. I love it.
Well, thank you, Tina, so much for coming on. I am super duper excited for this project. Super excited for you and your team. I can feel the passion coming off you. I feel like I can feel your excitement through the scrine, and you're probably
I hope it's contagious. I hope everybody gets excited about it.
Right? It is. Oh my goodness. Well, I know you're working on all this other work and things like that. What's something that you're hoping, because you mentioned your career a little bit, and obviously, like you said, short films don't make money, but is this, if this project does get funded, it will come to be and all that, are you hoping that'll inspire other new creative ventures for you in some regard?
Yes, I hope so. I hope there will be a turning of the tide when it comes to 2D animation in general. And I'm seeing it now. It's really interesting with, the films from Cartoon Saloon, for example, which are all amazing, beautiful 2D animated. Klaus was incredible with Sergio Pablos' studio. And I think, fingers crossed, we're working on something new and fresh. But I want, indie creators who do 2D animation to support each other in order to convince larger projects to make more beautiful hand-drawn frame-by-frame 2D animation. And right now I'm working still in video games, which a lot of them are embracing beautiful hand-drawn animations for video games. So when I will be able to talk about that, follow me, Tina Nawrocki Art. And I will hopefully be sharing some incredible, amazing stuff that I've been working on for those games. So I just want more 2D animation. I think there's room for everything, and I think 2D can take a little bit more space, and that's the hope. Yes.
Yeah, get back to the basics with some forms of art. Yes. Digital is great, but we got to have some of the OG stuff too.
Yeah, and I think what's lovely is that 3D does some things very, very well. So it does very subtle emotions very well. It does realism very well. But I think the strength of 2D is how easily you can explore different styles, different art styles. And I think that is lacking in 3D. It's so easy to draw in a different style, and then your ability to draw is the limit of what you can do creatively, morphing things, doing crazy kind of graphic animations. I keep talking about Cartoon Saloon because I love their stuff. Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea and Wolf Walkers. It's a very, eye-catching new style. And I feel like, as audiences, we get bored of seeing the same things over and over again. So I just want more, diverse projects, more different voices. And I think 2D is a great medium which allows that. So we need more of it.
Yeah. Well, I think you are really helping headline the movement. I think this will inspire more indie creators, as you said, to jump on the ship and be bold and brave to re-embrace the 2D animation. Because again, a lot of people are probably thinking about it, but because they haven't seen someone else do it, they don't think it's possible. So it just takes one person, one team to do it for everybody to go, holy crap, that's a thing.
And that's what I think Cuphead did. I think Cuphead opened a lot of eyes about how people love 2D animation still, and that it is a viable, art form, and we should have more of this. So yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Tina. Any other pages? I know you plugged the Twitter handles for the film and you plugged your own handle. Any other plugs you want to put out there?
No, right now, just support the campaign. Like, that's all I care about. I stress out about it so much. Please relieve some of the stress. Give me your Starbucks money. Give me whatever you can donate. So it's all about the campaign for now. And then, later, of course, follow the social media for the film so you can follow along as we make it. Follow me if you want to learn more about these amazing video games that I'm working on. And just stay in touch, y'all. Send me DMs. Let's talk and let's nerd out about animation and art in general.
I love that I'm not the only one on the screen right now that says y'all, because half the time I'm the only one saying y'all, and I'm like, cool. I am reminded that I live in the South.
I have some friends from the South. I am not from the South. Canadians don't say it as much, but they say it all the time. And I thought it was the most awesome, inclusive way of saying you people that sounds nice and rolls off the tongue. So I'm adopting this. I'm saying y'all. It's happening.
Yeah, there's a saying that kind of got used over the last few years in the South to support LGBTQ rights, and it's been used for other movements too. The y'all means all. It's just it like you said, it just rolls off the tongue, and I'm like, that's cheesy as shit, but so good. You can't argue with it.
When I was growing up, you would say you guys as everybody. And that's very, it's making the male the dominant thing again. And so I'm like, no, y'all is much better. It's just everyone, and it doesn't specify gender. And I think it's great. So yes.
Yeah. Well, everyone, y'all that are watching this at home, go back SYRENKA stat. I think Indiegogo is the same way, where it doesn't take your money until the campaign's finished. Is that right? So there you go. So if you're I don't get paid till the end of the month, that's cool. Back it, because they won't touch your money till it is time. So just like Tina knew it was time to make the film, you all can be assured that they will take the money when it is time.
Yes, I'm really excited. Please support us and support all art, support each other, and, make art also. If this is something that you love to do, keep making it.
Yeah. And to all of you watching at home, all of the links that we mentioned will be below. So click, go have fun, spend money. It's better than shopping in person, so you can't beat it. Be sure to check out Tina, of course, keep up with her. And then you can, check out more videos on our channel here, check out our Discord, all this crazy stuff to just get involved and have fun, be part of the neighborhood. There's all kinds of creators as well in there. So sometimes it's a good way to get in touch with the creators that you usually are scared to slide in their DMs or something. So it's a lot of fun in there. And, be sure to like, share, and subscribe here. It just helps us grow and get to be able to continue supporting great indie creators like Tina and her amazing team. So we want to do that. And otherwise, we'll see you guys next time in the nerdy neighborhood.